Before the world learned to rush, there was a land that already knew eternity. A land where the desert is not empty, it is full. Full of memory, full of prayer, full of the footsteps of prophets and the silence of God. Here, mountains of rose-red stone rise from the earth like ancient altars. Here, seas of golden sand shift and breathe as if the land itself is alive. Here, cities stand at the crossroads of civilizations that came and went like waves, yet something always remained. Something that cannot be built or destroyed. Something that can only be felt. This is Saudi Arabia. Not the Saudi Arabia of headlines or politics, not the Saudi Arabia of oil towers and breaking news. This is the Saudi Arabia that existed before all of that. The Saudi Arabia that will exist long after. A land of wind-carved canyons and star-filled skies. A land of ancient trade routes and sacred mountains. A land where the first words of the Quran were revealed on a quiet night in a cave, and where the world was changed forever. Between the Red Sea and the Arabian Gulf, between the Hejaz Mountains and the empty quarter, there is a country that holds within its borders more history, more faith, and more silence than most of the world combined. Saudi Arabia is not just a place, it is a feeling, a weight in the chest, a stillness in the soul. And once you understand it, truly understand it, you never forget it. We begin where all journeys of faith begin, in the valley of Mecca. Surrounded by the mountains of the Hejaz, stands the most visited place on earth. A city that was sacred long before the first mosque was built, long before the first call to prayer echoed through its narrow streets. The holy city of Mecca. More than 2 million people arrive here every year for the Hajj pilgrimage alone. They come from every country, every language, every color. They wear the same simple white cloth. They carry the same prayer in their hearts. Rich and poor become the same. King and beggar walk the same ground. This is the genius of Mecca. It is the great equalizer. At its center stands the Masjid al-Haram, the Grand Mosque. It is the largest mosque in the world, capable of holding over 2 million worshippers at one time. Its minarets pierce the sky like raised hands in supplication. Its marble floors are cool against bare feet, even in the heat of summer. And at the heart of the Grand Mosque, surrounded by an ocean of worshippers, stands the Kaaba. A simple cube, draped in black cloth embroidered with gold, ancient beyond memory, sacred beyond words. Muslims around the world face the Kaaba when they pray, 5 times a day, every day. Nearly 2 billion people on earth turn toward this place, toward this valley, toward this stone. When you see the Kaaba for the first time, something happens inside you. Whether you are Muslim or not, whether you are a believer or a questioner, you feel it. The weight of 1 billion prayers, the echo of 1 million years of faith. The air around the Kaaba is different, quieter, heavier, as if time moves more slowly here, as if God bends low to listen. Pilgrims circle the Kaaba 7 times, moving counterclockwise, like planets around a sun, like time around eternity. Their lips move in prayer, their eyes fill with tears. Some have saved their entire lives for this moment. Some walked great distances to reach this place. And when they arrive, they understand that the journey was never really about the destination. It was about what the journey did to them. Nearby stands the well of Zamzam. According to Islamic tradition and ancient history, this well has flowed continuously for thousands of years, its water rising from deep beneath the valley floor. It never runs dry, it never fails. Pilgrims drink from it with cupped hands, the water cold and clean and tasting of something that cannot be named. In Mecca, even water is a prayer. Each year during Hajj, the pilgrims leave Mecca and walk to the plain of Arafat. It is here, on the 9th day of the Islamic month of Dhul Hijjah, that the great stand takes place, the Wukuf. Millions of white-clad pilgrims gather on the flat plain and at the foot of the mountain of mercy, Jabal al-Rahmah, standing, praying, weeping, asking. The sun is fierce, the heat is enormous, but no one leaves. From the air, the gathering on the plain of Arafat looks like a white sea stretching to the horizon. It is the largest annual gathering of human beings on earth. It is also the quietest place you have ever stood in the middle of a crowd, because every single person there is speaking only to God. 65 miles north of Mecca, up through the mountains and into the wide valley of light, lies the city of Medina, the city of the Prophet. If Mecca is the heart, Medina is the soul. Here, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, made his home. Here he built the first mosque with his own hands, a simple structure of palm trunks and mud. Here he gathered his companions, built a community, and from this quiet valley sent a message that would reach every corner of the earth. Today, the Prophet's mosque, Al-Masjid al-Nabawi, stands over that original ground. Its green dome, visible from miles away, is one of the most recognized images in the Islamic world. Beneath it rests the Prophet himself. At night, the mosque glows with a soft green light. Thousands sit in its courtyard under the famous retractable umbrellas, enormous petals of shade that bloom open at dawn and close at sunset. Old men recite Quran with closed eyes. Young children run quietly between columns. Women pray side by side in long, peaceful rows. The air smells of oud and roses. The sound of recitation drifts through the warm night air. In Medina, time does not move the way it moves elsewhere. Here, you feel history not as something that happened long ago, but as something still happening, still breathing, still present. Outside the mosque, the date palm markets overflow with every variety of date grown in Arabia, from the dark caramel soft majul to the pale golden safawi. Vendors pile them in wooden trays. Buyers pinch and taste, unhurried, as if this transaction has all the time in the world. The date palm is an ancient symbol in Arabia. It gives food, shade, timber, and fiber. The Prophet said that the date palm is the blessed tree, the tree of life, the tree of paradise. In Medina, you understand why. A single palm tree standing in the desert heat, heavy with fruit, offering shade to the ground below. It is an act of generosity, so simple and so complete that it becomes a kind of theology. The city is gentle. Its people are known across the Arab world for their softness, their hospitality, their patience. Strangers offer dates and water without being asked. Shop owners greet you as if they have always known you. There is a saying in Arabic, "Whoever sees Medina forgets all other cities." Standing in its streets at dawn, the call to prayer rising from 100 minarets at once, you understand why. We travel now to a place far older than Islam, far older than any religion that carries a name. We travel north into the ancient heart of Arabia. In the northwest of Saudi Arabia, where the Hejaz Mountains meet the vast expanse of the desert, lies a place that was once one of the most important crossroads in the ancient world, Al-Ula. The valley of Al-Ula stretches for more than 200 kilometers through the desert. Its sandstone cliffs rise from the earth in shapes that seem impossible. Towering columns, balanced rocks, arches carved by wind and time. The colors shift from amber to rose to deep crimson as the sun moves across the sky. This valley has been continuously inhabited for more than 200,000 years. 200,000 years. Every generation left something behind. Rock carvings from the Stone Age, ancient inscriptions in languages that scholars are still learning to read, tombs and temples and trade routes stretching back to the beginning of recorded human history. And at the southern end of the valley, carved into the rose-red sandstone cliffs, stands the crown jewel of Al-Ula, Hegra, also known as Madain Salih. Hegra was the southern capital of the Nabatean kingdom, the same extraordinary civilization that built Petra in present-day Jordan. The Nabateans were masters of water, masters of trade, masters of stone. They carved their tombs directly into the cliff faces, creating facades of breathtaking precision and beauty. At Hegra, over 100 monumental tombs have survived 2,000 years of desert wind and sun. Their carved columns and intricate cornices stand sharp against the sky, as if they were finished yesterday. Walk among them in the early morning when the light is golden and the desert is still cool, and you feel something ancient press against you, something patient, something that has been waiting quietly for millennia for someone to stop, to look, to listen. The Nabateans carved inscriptions above many of the tomb entrances, curses, some scholars say, warnings to those who would disturb the dead. But standing before these carved faces, you feel not threat, but invitation. Come closer, remember us, we were here. The Nabateans controlled the incense trade routes that stretched from southern Arabia through the Hejaz to the Mediterranean. Frankincense and myrrh, the most precious commodities of the ancient world, passed through these valleys for centuries. Caravans of thousands of camels moved through Al-Ula, guided by stars, sustained by water systems the Nabateans engineered with genius. They built dams and channels to collect and redirect every drop of rain that fell in this dry land. They carved cisterns deep in the rock, sealed them with plaster, and stored water through the dry month. In a landscape where rain comes perhaps twice a year, they created an oasis of permanence. The smell of frankincense still hangs in the desert air here, carried on the wind from the south, as if the old caravans have not quite finished their journey. This sandstone mountain is covered from its base to its highest accessible point with inscriptions carved by travelers, merchants, pilgrims, and priests over more than 2,000 years. Thousands of texts in Nabatean, Lahayanite, Minaic, Aramaic, and other ancient scripts cover their surfaces. People stopped here to leave their mark, a name, a prayer, a record of a journey completed or a life well lived. Standing before Jabal Ikma, you realize that the desire to be remembered, to say, "I was here, I existed, I mattered," is not modern. It is the oldest human impulse of all. The mountain is a library written not by scholars, but by ordinary people passing through, reaching up, touching stone, leaving something behind. Some of the inscriptions are formal prayers, some are business records, some are love poems, some are simply names scratched into the rock by someone who had nothing else to offer and understood that even a name carved into stone outlasts the flesh that bore it. Further into the heart of the kingdom, where the mountains give way to the wide central plateau, lies the capital city of Riyadh. Riyadh means the gardens in Arabic, and though the city today is a metropolis of 7 million people, a city of glass towers, roaring highways, and relentless energy, if you look carefully, you can still find the garden beneath. At the center of old Riyadh stands Mosques Fortress. Built in the late 19th century from mud brick and clay, its thick walls and watchtowers once commanded the entire old city. It was here, in January 1902, that a young man named Abdulaziz ibn Saud changed history. Abdulaziz was 21 years old. He had been living in exile with his family in Kuwait, far from his ancestral home. He gathered a small group of loyal men, some say only 40, some say fewer, and under cover of darkness, in the coldest month of the year, they crossed the desert towards Riyadh. They entered the city before dawn, moving silently through empty streets. When the gates of Mosques opened in the morning, Abdulaziz led his men in a swift and decisive raid. By sunrise, Riyadh had changed hands. From this single bold act, the modern Saudi kingdom was eventually born. Today, you can stand in Mosques Fortress and place your fingers in the hole that a spear made in the great wooden gate during that early morning raid. The hole is still there, small, dark, and somehow astonishing, a physical mark left by a single moment that created a nation. History, you realize, sometimes turns on very small hinges. On the edge of Riyadh, the Diriyah district tells a story even older than Mosques. It was here, in the 18th century, that the first Saudi state was founded. The mud brick ruins of At-Turaif, the old capital of the Al Saud family, spread across a ridge above Wadi Hanifa, one of the few year-round water sources in Central Arabia. At-Turaif has been designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Its crumbling towers and collapsed walls still carry the dignity of what they once were, the seat of a government, the home of a dynasty, the birthplace of a nation. At sunset, the mud walls of At-Turaif glow amber and gold, the same color they have been every sunset for 300 years. The wadi below is green with palm trees. Birds move through the branches. Children's voices echo up from the valley. In Diriyah, the past is not behind you, it is all around you, present and breathing. In the southwest of Saudi Arabia, where the mountains grow green and the air turns cool and moist, lies a region that surprises everyone who visits it. The Asir. The Asir Mountains rise to nearly 3,000 meters above sea level. The slopes are terraced with ancient farmland, carved over centuries by communities who understood the land as a living thing, to be respected, not conquered. Here, the Saudi Arabia of popular imagination, all sand and heat, simply does not exist. The Asir receives more rainfall than any other region in the country. Mist clings to the mountaintops in the morning. The air smells of wild herbs and cool stone. The villages of the Asir are painted, their mud and stone houses decorated with geometric patterns in white, red, and green, each design specific to a family, a tribe, a tradition. Women in the Asir are known for their mastery of this art, passed from mother to daughter across generations. The paintings are not decoration, they are identity, they are memory. In the market town of Abha, the capital of the Asir region, you can still find the painted pots, embroidered textiles, and silver jewelry that define the aesthetic of the Asir. The silverwork in particular is extraordinary, heavy, geometric, full of symbolism and beauty that reflects a mountain culture untouched for centuries. Al-Habala is a village that hangs on a cliff face in the Asir Mountains, so steep and so remote that for generations its inhabitants could only reach it by rope, lowering themselves down from the plateau above. Today, a cable car carries visitors to its edge. Standing on the cliffside above Al-Habala, looking down at the village, and then further down at the valley far below, you understand what the word remote truly means, and you wonder what it meant to live there, to be born there, to die there, connected to the wider world only by the strength of a rope and the courage to use it. In the Asir Mountains, ancient terracing systems still hold the hillside soil in place, managing water and supporting crops in a way that modern engineers study with admiration. These systems are thousands of years old, and they still work, quietly, patiently, faithfully. At sunset in the Asir, clouds catch fire below the mountain peaks, the valleys fill with shadow, while the ridges glow gold, and for a moment, between cloud and stone, between light and dark, you feel that the earth is praying. Along the Red Sea coast, where the warm blue water meets the coral sand, lies the ancient port city of Jeddah.
The old souk of Jeddah still operates in many of its ancient alleyways. Spices, silver, frankincense, and textiles sold in the same places they have been sold for centuries. The smell of oud smoke drifts from open doorways. Cats sleep in patches of shade on ancient thresholds. At night, the old city breathes differently. The stone walls release the heat of the day. Lanterns cast warm circles on carved wooden doors. Families sit outside on chairs and share the evening air. The call to prayer rises from the mosque at the end of the alley, and the city pauses. Along the Jeddah Corniche, the seafront promenade stretches for over 30 kilometers along the edge of the Red Sea. At night, families walk its length under the stars. The fountain in the harbor, one of the tallest in the world, catches the city lights and throws them upward in a column of mist and brightness that can be seen for miles. The Red Sea itself glows at night with bioluminescent plankton along some stretches of the coast. In the darkness, the water sparks with cold blue light at every wave and every movement. It looks like the sea is full of stars. In Jeddah, the whole world arrived and left something behind, and Jeddah kept all of it. Now we go to the place that silences everything, the Rub al-Khali, the empty quarter. The empty quarter is the largest continuous sand desert on Earth.
It covers more than 650,000 square kilometers, an area larger than France, larger than Texas, larger than most countries on the map. Its dunes rise to over 200 meters in height. Its interior is one of the most remote and uninhabited places on the planet. It is also one of the most beautiful. The dunes of the empty quarter do not look like ordinary sand. They are sculpted by wind into shapes of impossible elegance, long ridges that run perfectly parallel for miles, crescent shapes called barkans that migrate slowly across the desert floor, and massive star dunes that rise from the desert like frozen ocean waves. At sunrise, the dunes turn every shade of gold and rose and copper. Shadows pool in the valleys between them, deep and blue as water. The light seems to come not just from the sky, but from the sand itself, as if the desert stores the sun overnight and releases it slowly at dawn. The silence of the empty quarter is a physical thing. You can feel it pressing against your ears. In the deepest interior, there is no sound at all, no wind, no birds, no insects, only the occasional whisper of sand grains rolling down a dune face, a sound so small and so pure that hearing it feels like a privilege. Ancient Arabian tradition holds that the empty quarter was once the site of Iram, the city of many columns, a legendary city of great wealth and beauty that God caused to disappear beneath the sands as punishment for its pride. Whether Iram existed or not, the story captures something true about this place. The empty quarter does feel like a place where something was lost, something important, something that existed before memory and returned to silence before we could learn its name. Bedouin tribes crossed the empty quarter for centuries, navigating by stars and wind direction, reading the sand the way sailors read the sea. They carried water in leather bags. They trusted their camels completely. They moved through what seemed to the outside world to be an impossible, deadly void, and found in it not emptiness, but fullness. The great British explorer Wilfred Thesiger crossed the empty quarter twice on foot in the 1940s with Bedouin companions. He wrote afterward that the experience changed him permanently, not because of the danger, not because of the hardship, but because of the beauty. He said he had never been anywhere else where he felt so small and so alive at the same time. The camel is inseparable from the story of this desert. For thousands of years, the camel made the crossing of the empty quarter possible. It carries more water in its blood than any other mammal. It can go days without drinking. It can navigate by memory and smell. It moves across the sand with a patience that seems almost philosophical. The Bedouin did not merely use camels, they understood them, they named them, composed poetry for them, judged a man's wealth and character by the quality of his herd. The relationship between the Bedouin and the camel is one of the longest and most intimate partnerships between humans and animals in human history. Today, camel racing remains one of the most beloved sports in Saudi Arabia. In the vast flat plains near Riyadh and in the eastern province, races are held throughout the winter season. The camels run with a grace that surprises first-time observers, long-legged, swaying, effortless-looking, covering ground faster than you expect. The owners watch from trucks racing alongside the track, shouting encouragement through loudspeakers. The crowd cheers in waves. The desert, for an afternoon, becomes a celebration. At night, in the empty quarter, away from any city, any road, any human light, the sky becomes something else entirely. The Milky Way does not appear as a faint smear, as it does from cities. It blazes, a river of light so dense and so bright that it casts shadows on the sand below. Shooting stars cross the sky every few minutes. The planets hang low and steady, bright as lanterns. The Bedouin known to navigate by these stars. The early Arab astronomers, working in this same desert sky, named more stars in the night sky than any other culture in history. More than 200 stars in the night sky still carry their original Arabic names today: Aldebaran, Altair, Deneb, Rigel, Betelgeuse. They looked up at the same sky we look up at now, and they found not chaos, but order, not silence, but meaning. In the northwest of the kingdom, along the ancient pilgrimage route called the Darb Zubaydah, a road built in the 8th century by the Abbasid Queen Zubaydah to help pilgrims travel safely from Iraq to Mecca, there are rest stations, wells, and stone markers still visible in the desert after more than 1,000 years. Queen Zubaydah spent her own personal fortune to build this road. She dug wells every few miles, built shelters against the heat and cold, and posted guards to protect the pilgrims. When she was told the cost was enormous, she said, "Even if each blow of the pickaxe costs a dinar of gold, I will not stop." She did not stop, and the road she built carried millions of pilgrims to Mecca for centuries. Some of the wells she dug still hold water today. This is the nature of Saudi Arabia. Beneath every surface, another layer. Beneath every layer, another mystery. The land holds more history than it reveals, more secrets than it has spoken, more sacred ground than any map has fully drawn. In the far south, where the mountains of the Hijaz descend toward Yemen, lie the ruins of Qaryat al-Fal, once the capital of the ancient kingdom of Kinda. Here, archaeologists have uncovered temples, markets, houses, and tombs of a sophisticated civilization that flourished 2,000 years ago. Frescoes in vivid colors, sculptures of extraordinary skill, bronze statues and golden jewelry, evidence of a society with poetry, music, trade, and philosophy. A civilization that the world largely forgot until the sand gave it back. Arabia was never the empty, backward place that colonial imagination sometimes described. It was a crossroads, a center, a place where ideas, goods, faiths, and languages met and changed each other. The Arabic numerals that you use every time you write a number, the algebra whose very name comes from the Arabic al-Jabur, the stars whose names still echo in Arabic across the world's observatories, the coffee that fills your morning cup, its name comes from the Arabic word kahwa, and its cultivation as a drink began in the Arabian Peninsula and the Horn of Africa. All of it flowed from this land outward to the rest of the world. Arabia gave more than it received, and it gave quietly without demanding credit. On the Gulf Coast, in the eastern province, lies Tarut Island, one of the oldest continuously inhabited places in the region. Archaeologists have found artifacts here dating back more than 7,000 years to the ancient Dilmun civilization that once controlled trade across the Gulf. A small fort sits at the island's center, Ottoman in structure, but built on foundations far, far older. The fishermen